good to see you again. Thank you for tuning in. We got some special guests today. We have Jonathan and Bethany that are joining us from Portugal. They are missionaries and they are serving in Portugal. So let's welcome them in and see what God is doing through them as they do this missionary work. Hey, Jonathan and Bethany, how are you doing?
Doing good. Hi.
Good. Thank you guys for joining us today. Well, look, we're interested to know exactly what you guys are doing and how God is working in you. So where exactly in Portugal are you guys at?
We're in Lisbon, the capital city here in Portugal.
About 3 million people in the metro area.
Wow. So this is a big area. Y'all have a lot of people that you guys have the opportunity to share the gospel with then.
We do.
So how long have you been in Portugal?
We just, it's 7 years. Been here 7 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you guys have no doubt seen a lot of stuff then in 7 years' time.
We have both of our girls were born here.
Okay.
So this is the only home that they've known, and we've made friends and just seen a lot ministry-wise and even the culture, how it's adapted and changed in our time here.
It's definitely become our home here in Lisbon.
Now, you mentioned your family was born there. What is that like raising a family in a different country? Is it the same as it is here in the States, or are there differences? Are there difficulties?
I don't know anything different, so it feels normal to us, I think.
But,
so.
We've never raised our kids in the States, so it's harder to compare. Our daughter, when we went back on stateside, they were one time visiting in the States. Our oldest was 3 at the time, and we were staying in a mission house right across from the First Baptist Church in that town. And we walked outside, we pointed to the church and its steeple, and we're like, "Baby, what's that?" She's like, "Oh, it's a castle! Oh, a castle!" So churches don't look like churches that we're used to in the South. There are no steeples, churches like that. Catholic churches are elaborate, the cathedrals that you see. But the rest we meet in storefronts and little office spaces. And so for her, she's not used to churches with steeples. But we live in a country full of castles and palaces. So that was immediately what she thought when she saw this big, elaborate building.
Wow, I bet that's pretty cool. Now, you mentioned the South. Are you guys from the South?
I grew up in Mississippi.
Okay.
In Sebastopol, a small town close to Forest, Mississippi, right in the middle of the state.
And I'm a Louisiana girl, but all my family's from Mississippi. So my parents are from there, and all my aunts and uncles still live there.
Okay. So what drew you guys to Portugal? Do you feel that the Lord, did he call you to go there? Like what kind of led you guys from here in the South all the way there?
Yeah, when we got married 10 years ago, we just had our 10th year anniversary.
Wow, great.
We both felt called to cross-cultural ministry and missions in some way. That's a lot of my background has been working with missions. I worked a lot in Spanish-speaking ministry in Mississippi and in Louisiana. And Bethany's had a lot of experience working cross-culturally as well. And we, after about a year of marriage, we really thought that this was time for us to start the process with the International Mission Board. Being Southern Baptist is just a great opportunity for us to go and to serve, and it felt like that was right for us. And we just kind of thought that Europe would be a good fit for us in a lot of ways. We lived in New Orleans for a long time. I stayed there, worked in New Orleans. Was there for about 15 years, and which feels like a very European city in a lot of ways. And we, as we were in process, we found that they just did not have open job requests for Europe. And we put South Asia as a possibility too, and we got assigned to South Asia. But we were at the Southern Baptist Convention and met several leaders from the International Mission Board and got to talking to them. And they just really thought that our background with seminary and our And like I mentioned, I spoke Spanish already, but I knew a lot of Portuguese, and they thought that there were some positions in Europe that would be a good fit for us. They wanted some people to help work in theological education through seminary, but also church planting, and they thought we were a good fit for that. And so they talked to some people here in Portugal and created a job for us here.
All right. Well, that's great. Well, God has a way of kind of putting people right where He needs them. So, you mentioned a while ago that something about Catholicism. Is that kind of the predominant religion there, or?
Yeah, so Portugal is a predominantly Catholic country,
Okay.
but when you look at that, each generation is getting further and further removed. So if you meet people in their 60s, they will say they're Catholic,
Mm-hmm.
and they actually probably practice a little bit. When you get down to your 40s, people have that Catholic background, but they've walked away from it more. They respect Mary, they respect angels.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really like the Catholic Church as much. You
Okay.
get younger than that, and it moves even further away. In their 30s, most of our friends that are not evangelical are not religious at all. And then in the 20s, that's where you see a lot more atheism starting to rise.
Okay.
As far as the evangelical rate, it's less than 1%.
Wow. Okay.
The north of Portugal is going to be more predominantly Catholic practicing. Here, less, and the further south you go, even less practicing. But they do have that background of Catholicism. So the Bible, they know who Jesus is a little
Okay.
bit. Some of that is a little familiar, so we have a little bit of a background in common to start conversations with.
Okay. Now, are the people there, are they receptive to hearing the gospel?
I have found that people are very receptive. We love Portuguese people, and the culture here, people are very kind, gracious, helpful for the most part. At the same time, being a European country, like other parts of Western Europe, people tend to be a little bit more cautious, a little less trusting. So we found that people are very open for spiritual conversation. Actually,
Okay.
we did about 500 surveys of people randomly with some ministry partners, and 1 out of 4 people said that they were interested in learning more about Jesus and what the Bible has to say.
Wow.
So I feel like that's a pretty good percentage of people that is really open to hearing more and to learning more. And we've done a lot of work with Bible discovery groups to read stories about Jesus from the Bible with people who are interested in learning more. And we found a lot of receptivity to that.
So they're open to hearing.
Okay.
They're open to discuss it. They are slow to make decisions. We had one student, and he's been about the norm for people in his age range, in the 20s, who heard the gospel, dismissed it at first, but came around again, liked us, heard it again, was interested, came to a Bible discovery group. He started attending every week. It took him over a year to make a decision to follow Christ.
Wow.
It took a whole nother year to get him to decide to be baptized. And we've seen that a lot, where people will come, they will want to learn a little more. We have a family who's been involved since last Easter in a Bible discovery group with us, where we reading through the book of John, and we discussed it, and they've been in for over a year now. So other books, we did mark different things, and they still haven't made a decision to follow Christ, but they're coming, they're starting to identify themselves more with us and more as Christians, but it's been a long process for a lot of people.
Now, what kind of work exactly do you guys do, Jonathan? If I'm not mistaken, you're a seminary teacher. Is that correct?
That's part of our job. It's a little less than half. Our main job description is church planters. So we work with a church planting project here in our neighborhood, and we often meet either in cafes or here at our house. We also work with the Baptist Seminary. We both teach some courses there. It's mainly evangelism, discipleship, missions courses that I teach. So I'm involved with helping train a lot of the young leadership for our churches here in Portugal through that, which has been a blessing. Also work with our church. When we got here, I guess our church had one church planting project, but now, as we've invested in them and connected with others, we have about 14, 15 church planting projects that we've networked together, that we meet for accountability, for prayer, for sharing resources and ideas. I weekly coach some of the church planters, and so that's a big part of what we do is is casting vision throughout the country and really not just wanting to plant a church ourselves, but to mentor and work with lots of people to see lots of churches planted. And besides that, we do a good bit of training in local churches. Evangelism, discipleship training. We do a lot of weekend trainings at churches. So those are the main parts of our job.
Well, that's a great thing to hear. That's something that churches really need, especially even here in the States. There's just not enough training. There are a lot of people, I think, that go to church, but they're really not discipled. And there's a difference between, just going to church and actually being discipled and growing. And I'm glad to hear that you guys are working in that way. And hopefully God's going to continue to bless you guys and use you guys and the work that you do. Now, of course, being in another country, I know that there are lots of cultural differences. What's one of the craziest things that's really different culturally there as from maybe here in the States?
I think probably one of the biggest differences is how family oriented they are. I come from a close, big family where all the cousins, aunts, even though I live in Europe, every aunt knows exactly what we did today. Like my family is overly involved in each other's lives. We are that big, loud Southern family. But Portuguese take it to an entirely new level. That if at all possible, kids, instead of trying to move away from their parents, they try to get a home in the same building as their parents. So their parents might be on the 4th floor and they're on the 2nd floor. We have friends right now who are looking to get married, and they're supposed to get married next month, and they're apartment hunting, and they literally are like, 20 minutes is too far away from my parents. Like they're trying to get within like 10 minutes of their parents. College students, when we talk to them, will make plans and they'll be like, I'm sorry, I can't tell you for sure until I talk to my parents because we normally have dinner and I have to check and see. And we've had, like, my babysitter has shown up at my house before and her mom has called. She's like, I'm sorry, I got to go back home. My mom's calling and telling me I have to have dinner. And so Portuguese it's a good thing. They love their families, take care of their families. But from an American individualism mindset, they don't have that. Your second cousin can call you, and if they need you to do something, you drop everything to go help them, even if it's not an emergency. So that has taken a little adjustment because all of our plans have to be fluid because family does come first. So if anything comes up for anyone in the family, even if whatever you have is already a priority and has a commitment level, then you just have to reschedule. If my babysitter decides she has to go home because her mom calls, then that means that date night just got canceled unless I can call somebody else last minute. And so I think that is something it took a little while to get adjusted to, but it's good at the same time. Being a mom, I love that I know I can call my kids at any point and they will come rushing home. So I can see 10 years from now, this is going to be like the best news ever.
Yeah, there's a lot of American parents that probably envy that because your kids growing up in that culture, boy, if they have that, that's going to be great for you guys. Now, as far as help, how can people help you guys? Do y'all have teams of people that come and help serve, financial aid? What's the best way, if we've got any people that want to help and support you guys, what's the best way we could do that?
Well, as far as financially giving to the cooperative program, Lottie Moon, well, I guess Lottie Moon would be number one. And the International Mission Board takes good
Lottie
care
Moon is
of us.
year-round, so if anyone wants to make a special offering to Lottie Moon, that goes directly to Missionaries. Yeah. They've had a lot of extra expenditures on evacuating people from areas that were unexpectedly hit hard by COVID-19, different things like that. So they do have extra expenses right now. So I know IMB and all of us would appreciate gifts to Lottie Moon. Cooperative program as well. When you give to that to your state convention, part of that comes to us, and we couldn't function without Southern Baptist doing that. But we love teams, and Mississippi has been our main partners. Yeah. So we actually, when the shutdown happened, we had 2 teams of college students from Mississippi here trying to get out before the travel ban. So we love teams. We use college students to help us reach into university ministry. But we really need families, and some of our best outreach events have been Thanksgiving. So it's a great one where senior adults, if you know how to cook and you are comfortable sitting at a table and just talking about traditions, and Thanksgiving is one of our biggest outreaches of the year we do it not just for our church plant, but for the church planting network. So Thanksgiving, anytime in November, we don't ask people to actually give up their Thanksgiving. It's not a holiday here. They know about it. All they know is it's in November. So whatever week in November people come, we'll cook 10 to 12 Thanksgiving meals for different church plants. And everyone has to invite a lost friend to be able to come to the dinner. And we have seen several new Bible discovery groups get started from that. Easter is another huge one for us. The 2 weeks before Easter is spring break here, so all schools are closed and out. So we do work with the Church Planting Network, with the churches, and we do Easter egg hunts for each of those church plants for their projects. Help them do mini vacation Bible schools and do egg hunts for that. And we see families come that had no connection to the church. Portuguese love learning about different cultures, and they love learning about different traditions. So Thanksgiving, Easter, even Halloween, with doing a normal fall festival at a church, we'll do that as block parties in the park in October and reach a lot of people that way as well.
Okay.
So on those projects, we love having kids to come and interact with the kids, through senior adults to come and help do cooking, help set up, help hide Easter eggs. Those are some events that have led to the largest fruit on seeing more groups get started that we cannot do without a team.
And even though our work is all in Portuguese, and we use Portuguese for everything, Portuguese people tend to speak English pretty well, especially young people. So we find volunteer teams come, and they do not have any problem talking with people in English all the time. So it's not a big language barrier. And when there is one, we can always translate and help.
No, we always have translators around, but for the most part, they're not needed. You can have one-on-one conversations with anyone,
especially
40 below,
younger
easily.
People.
Okay. Okay. Now, what's the best way that we could pray for you guys? What are some prayer needs that you have?
Well, I think for our family, as we're dealing with decisions for this next year, quarantine is still in strong effects here. Our little girls, it's a little different when you don't have a yard. We're thankful to have a small patio that we can go out on, but we don't have a yard. We're stuck indoors trying to make schooling decisions. Our oldest daughter has rheumatoid arthritis, and with that, she takes a immunosuppressant medicine, so she's in the more vulnerable population category. So we do not know yet, or doctors won't tell us until summer, if she even gets to go back to school next year. So just helping her deal with that and knowing that even if her school starts back, she may not be there is taking a little bit of a toll, and just praying for wisdom on that. And I think the same thing as your church is on, just continuing to minister and function during a quarantine. Portuguese are very slow and trusting already, and a lot of our outreach in the spring and summer is block parties and parks, and all of that will be canceled. So as we're looking at how do we do evangelism and reach new people in this time, discipleship has gone really well.
Yeah, we do
coaching.
We do groups of discipleship and training just about every day, usually using Zoom.
Okay.
So that is going well.
But praying for our people to be bolder in evangelism, where they're having to do it via FaceTime or via Zoom. It's a little bit of a stretch for some of our people. So helping them learn to be bolder and trying to find creative ways to minister and reach out and meet new people during this time, I think is a prayer. As we look through our church planting network, people have done well on serving others, on taking groceries, on meeting needs, on checking in with neighbors. That has continued. Discipleship has increased, where normally these family obligations that people won't commit to discipleship, all of that has gone away. So we're having weekly discipleship with people that have never committed to weekly discipleship time. But it's the evangelism and reaching people who aren't involved in the church that we're praying for. How do we do this, and how do we ask our people to continue to do this and to stretch them in that?
I even pray for Portugal and in general, for God to move and to send more workers to the harvest here, and just pray that as we and others cast vision and train, that people will catch this vision of making disciples who make more disciples, of sharing their faith, that God will use us and that God will work, that He will send. It's long to see a movement here of new disciples. So we pray for that.
Well, and for the Church Planting Network, out of those 14 churches, most of them are baby little churches.
Yeah,
it's like a seed planted.
Getting too far.
Only a couple of them are fully self-functioning, self-supporting churches. So praying for these projects to fully become church and to be able to support themselves and to continue to reach out and plant others.
All right. Well, we'll sure do that. I know I'll be praying for you guys. I believe our church family will too. And I just thank you guys for taking a few minutes out today to meet with us and kind of let us know how God is working. Even in the midst of COVID, God is still working and using you guys. And I know for you guys, it's just as difficult as it is for everybody else because everything kind of gets out of whack. But praise the Lord that you're having an impact in Portugal. And our prayers will be that God will continue to use you guys. You guys have a good afternoon and a good week. And hope to be seeing you again soon. Y'all have a good day.